Hola, ¿cómo está? I'm back. Eagles Therapy Hour. It's been a while. I'm here from Trevor. Here with Trevor from the Upper Bowl Podcast. We're going to Cleveland this weekend. I don't know why we're going, honestly. It's going to be an absolute shit show, but it's to get away from New Jersey. I mean, going to Cleveland's probably not better, but it's to get away from reality for a little bit. So it is what it is. We're going to lead into this basically with a humble brag. Hold on one second, guys. I don't know if this will make anyone jealous or not. I'm not sure. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I just got one of these puppies today. I'll be playing online. And if you guys have a username, mine's going to be NitroFreak2 probably. So come on, jump on, play some PS5. I have Call of Duty, and let's do this shit. But with that said, Trevor, how's it going, buddy?
As someone who has part of the PlayStation family, I would like to welcome you to the right side of the family because you get more fun games and everything. But I'm doing great. Getting up at 4 a.m., getting done by 9 a.m. is the greatest feeling ever. So I have a whole day to actually do stuff for my podcast. Check out for episode 100. We have a great guest. That's all I'm going to say. But we got to talk about some things. Yes, we're going to Cleveland. It's not the ideal place to go see a game, but it's a fun place to see. Cleveland fans are rowdy. Eagles fans are rowdy. Let's go have a good time. We got to start with this team.
Yes. Absolutely, we've got to start with this team. We're going to bring up Howie Roseman first because the way that this roster is constructed, it looked like an amateur high school freshman put together this team. And you wouldn't think this, like going into 2021, 3 years after we won the Super Bowl, that we would be on such a decline looking at a top 5 pick right now because I think we're going to miss the playoffs. And it looks like a bunch of bullshit. It looks like somebody just constructed this team with their eyes closed, like getting Jalen Hurts in the second round when you didn't need him. I mean, everyone's talking like we're going to get rid of Carson Wentz and get rid of that and take the penalty on that disgusting contract. The pick still doesn't make any sense because Jalen Hurts wasn't your best option if you're going for a quarterback in that spot. And Howie Roseman, he just needs to fucking go, dude. He needs to go like jump off a bridge, tie his shoes to a cement block, throw it into a river, and then dive in headfirst after it. That's exactly what Howie Roseman needs to do. I'm so fucking fed up with this little douche nozzle of a GM. He's not a GM. I am just so fucking fed up with him. I'm sick of him. Everyone wants to talk about Carson, Doug Carson. I'm talking about Howie Roseman. The guy is literally the worst GM in pro sports history. Sports, not football, sports history. He's a dork. I want him to go away. I don't care if he's been here. I don't care if he constructed the roster for the Super Bowl. It's what have you done for me lately? And the guy has done moves that made no fucking sense. All right, it's one thing to miss on a player. I get that. It's one thing to take a player that you thought was going to pan out and then didn't pan out. But this guy's been reaching for players over and over and over again. When you had DK Metcalf, that's a fucking specimen just sitting right there. You take J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Now I get it. The guy's smart. He's from Stanford, and they're comparing him to the next Alshon Jeffrey. I get that, but at the same time, when you see someone like DK Metcalf – and your only excuse is that he may fail a physical when he comes in, that's a bit of a problem. Because have you seen the guy? He's more chiseled than fucking Rocky himself, or who's a better, the Scorpion King himself,
or Lex Luger from Luger from the wrestler and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely disgusted with this guy. Howie Roseman does not deserve to be anywhere near a football locker room, Pee-wee football locker room. The guy's a fucking dork. He needs to go away. And Trevor, I need you to say something because I'm about to lose my shit on him.
Yeah, please don't lose your shit. I don't get paid enough to be a people's therapist yet, nor have a psychiatry degree. I should though, because I've listened to a lot of people complain, and plus I do a podcast as well, and I like to complain as well. So other people's gonna be my therapist. Yep. I got to start with Howie Roseman from the top. If you saw me do like amount of players he's missed, it's a lot, and like you've missed on so many players, like it's unheard of. Mm-hmm. Like you missed, like we could always do DK Metcalf. Like this year, you missed out on Chase Claypool as well, Mapletron, which people really like. He was in that wide receiver class. Justin Jefferson, that was another one. The list is so long; it goes all the way to like the fire starter they had was in 2014 when he did not agree on a player at all with Chip Kelly.
No.
And also cutting Deshaun Jackson as well.
Yep.
I feel like 13, they got it right. They took the tackle. 14, they got it all wrong. 15 was completely a shit show. 16, you traded up for a quarterback. And people say we won the trade, which really, did we win the trade? Not really.
No.
But like 17, you only have like one player or two players on that team that draft class that's still on the team. You miss on that. It's just so many players you've missed in asset management. Like you can only go through so many practice squad players that it's getting sad all the time. You can take as many Foot Locker associates that could play football as so many times that you can't win football games anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he always wants to be the smartest guy in the room. We all know he is, and we think he's one of the dumbest guys in the room, if not the dumbest guy in the room. Travis Fulgham, he found as a gem. I understand that. But did he really find him? He kind of landed on the team as a practice squad member because nobody wanted him. Travis Fulgham had a bad game last game, but I'm not going to put that on him because the last 4 games he was great and he was consistent. So everyone's due to have a bad game. I understand that. But the fact that they have not surrounded Carson Wentz with the right members on the offensive side of the ball is a big problem to me. I mean, you had DeAndre Hopkins. You couldn't have spent what the Arizona Cardinals spent for him. What was it, a 3, a 5th, and something else? You couldn't have spent that.
It was like a second or third. It was either second and third rounder, which is like if you were contacted Bill O'Brien and all he had to do was give up a second round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I was like, let me go actually deliver you the pick by a private jet. I will take DeAndre Hopkins from you.
Right.
And he looks amazing so far in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't go get DeAndre Hopkins. You don't even try to go after Antonio Brown, who's going to cost little to nothing. He might cause some drama, but is that really going to stir up our locker room worse than it is right now? Our locker room is absolutely – I feel like they've given up on Doug and Carson at the same time. Carson Wentz, what?
I agree as well. I think like they're not giving a contract to Zach Ertz. He's one of the offensive leaders. He's been injured the whole time, and he looks disinterested as well this year.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed that? Like, whenever he's on the field, he seems like he's invisible from the offense and stuff, which is crazy. He's like usually the man who gets all the catches. He's like Carson's safety blanket. Now he's like you can't find him at all.
Yeah, right. I mean, everyone knows my stance on Carson Wentz. I think the guy stinks. I think he's a bottom 5 QB in the league, and I have the evidence to support that. I mean, I wish I could bring up a split screen right here, but I didn't have the time because I was buying my PS5, and that took a little bit of time because I was talking to my friend that sold it to me. But that's for another day. I'm not going to do any more humble brags about that. My split screen, if I were to pull it up right now, I'd show you the play that pissed me off about Carson Wentz the most at the end of that Giants game, and people want to say, oh, don't bash him. He's just trying to do his best. Doug isn't calling the right plays for him. Give him a break. Dude, we needed a big play down the field, and the guy checks it down for 8 yards when you need 16 on 4th down. Like, that's common sense. I don't care if nobody's open. I do not give a shit if nobody's open. You're playing the Giants. Try to make a play happen by throwing it down the field. He is scared of getting picked off or turning the ball over, and it just bothers me. I know he's leading the league in turnovers because he sucks, but at the same time, listen, you can't suck any worse, so why not try to make a fucking play down the field, you goon? Like, I just don't understand why this guy doesn't grasp the fact that we need him to play up to what we're paying him to play. And we're not trying to settle. We're not trying to settle for anything. We're not trying to settle for yardage. We're trying to make that play down the field. We had players come back this Sunday, and everyone was saying, oh, you're going to see a new Carson Wentz. You're going to see the guy from 2017 develop and play better. No, he was actually worse. Did he turn the ball over? No, I don't give a shit. He looks like one of the worst players in NFL history when it comes to situational play. I've been saying this for years. The guy is a dummy. He's stupid. All right? I'm at the point to where I want Jalen Hurts to take over for him, and I don't like Jalen Hurts.
As someone who's watched like a lot of film lately of like the old Wildcat, I don't know if you have the Game Pass, so I just let me go through 2009 and see what type of Wildcat they're running with Michael Vick. It's kind of like the same almost. I don't know if you like. I don't know how much time you got. Like I have this amount of time. Like I get bored, so I'll look at like
5 later. So that's how much time I have.
Yeah, so like I was looking through on Game Pass, like whatever Vic was doing with Wildcat. It reminds me of what they're doing with Jalen Hurts, but I doubt they're going to trade him. But I feel like this is with the Eagles. It's a horrible asset management. It's like this team is like when we won the Super Bowl, like that, like the year that leading up, like 17, the offseason 2017. What did you rank that offseason as, like an A or a B or a C?
I didn't rank it as anything. I was actually going into the season banking on us to get a divisional playoff game. I wasn't banking on anything. We got LeGarrette Blount, we got Alshon Jeffrey, two players that obviously were key pieces to that Super Bowl run.
And Torrey Smith too.
But I didn't – Torrey Smith, but he was kind of at the latter end of his career. So I was like, they were good moves, but I didn't think they would put us over the top for that year at least. I feel like those were pieces that could have helped us somewhere down the road. I was wrong on that. We played well. And then obviously you have to give credit to Howie Roseman for getting J.H.I. later on in the year. That was one of his many – not great. Well, that was one of his many great moves that he made. I'll have to give him credit on that one because that was big. But going into that season, I wasn't expecting much because – I just didn't see anything on the field, especially with how Carson played at the end of the year that year, that was going to put us over the top that year. And then all of a sudden, we just played together, and it worked out. Now, Nick Foles came in and won the Super Bowl. Everyone knows that. The rest is history. But I did not think anything was going to happen in 2017. Then all of a sudden, 2018, 2019, and 2020 come, and we look like the team I expected in that second year, but worse, you know? We've been going downhill every single year, and I just don't know what's happening. Usually you have some you have to try to figure out if you have consistency. Now, everyone wants to go and fire Doug, all right? I'm giving him at least 2 more years. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because after you win a Super Bowl, because, yes, a Super Bowl is a big thing to accomplish when you're an NFL coach. When you win a Super Bowl, you automatically get a 5-year window after you win that Super Bowl, no matter what. So he's not going anywhere for at least the next 2 years. What they need to figure out is if Carson Wentz is the right quarterback for Doug Peterson's system, which he clearly is not. And people don't seem to grasp that. All right. Howie Roseman, I don't know if he's going to be gone either. I hope he's gone, but him and Lurie have this weird thing. So I'm going to label him as back next year. But Carson Wentz, you have to figure this out right now. I know they didn't just grab Jalen Hurts to be the smartest people in the room and use him as a gadget player. They grabbed Jalen Hurts because as an insurance policy to where if Carson Wentz didn't work out for them, they would ship him off to a team like Indianapolis who have Phillip Rivers for only 1 year, give him to Frank Reich, and it's out of conference. And that's what I see with Jalen Hurts being brought in, is that they may ship off that contract to Indianapolis. They may have to eat some of it, but they may ship off that contract to Indianapolis with Frank Reich, and we're going to go with Jalen Hurts next year with Doug Peterson and start fresh. I can see that. But for people wanting Doug Peterson out, it's just not going to happen because he has a 5-year window.
I'll say that. I think I might have brought that up in a way earlier in the earlier season podcasts, and like a few other conversations with other people, like I've had guest-wise. Mm-hmm. I could actually see that happening because we all know Phillip Rivers has noodle arm to the probably worse than Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much Colts games you've watched. He's got legit noodle arm.
Defense is good.
The defense is great. They got a great running back group, which I feel the Eagles do not have personally. I think it's like you have Miles Sanders, 50 feet of crap, Boston Scott, 50 feet of crap, Corey Clement, personally.
Yeah, money right there.
Yeah, I just feel like they've done a better job drafting and developing. They actually care about team needs. Like when they knew after the 17th season, the Carson Andrew Luck was getting killed.
Yeah.
Or he would have missed the whole entire season because that offensive line was so bad and they got an offensive line, they built a wall, which I feel personally that the Eagles need I know they need a lot. They gotta invest in the offensive line, especially how bad it looks like we've seen Andre Dillard looked in practice and he tore his pec. He gone. Matt Pryor, I don't trust at all. I just think he's a legit turnstile with Jason Peters, which is literally an easy pass. Meep beep. You get your access to the quarterback. And I think the right side, can you trust Lane Johnson healthy all 16 games? Not really with a knee and an ankle, especially this year and the year before. You gotta me personally. They draft a few people, but it's they got the wrong type of tackles and guards.
Right.
And I feel personally, as what we saw Monday night with Nick Foles getting killed, the offensive line that Chicago has, I feel that's going to happen to Carson Wentz soon. if they don't help out that offensive line.
Well, the offensive line, to me, everyone wants to blame the offensive line for Carson Wentz. Number one, Carson Wentz, when he has the most time to throw, when he has 4 more seconds to throw the ball, he is statistically the worst quarterback in the league. So I'm not going to go much off of that offensive line theory. Nick Foles in Monday, it's a different scenario because he literally needs a good offensive line to get protection to throw the ball. And he gets no time because he can't run away. So
he's a statue back there. So it's like I've noticed, like, I always go by this. You start with the line and the tackles.
Yeah.
Then you can work your way. Like, you have a good running back. Wide receiver, I feel like you can grab anywhere in the draft, but you select the right one, which doesn't happen. And I always feel like you always got to invest well with a good nucleus of young and veteran players on the defense. Like, I always feel like a mixture of young and old in the secondary and like a mixture of young and old in the middle linebacker and the linebacker core. Then in the D lines, you can go with anything. Personally,
well, to me, if I'm picking top 5 next year, because I honestly could see the Eagles losing every game from here on out. I can. If I'm picking top 5 in this draft next year, I'm going linebacker first pick. Like, I don't care what anybody says. We don't have a linebacker. We don't have a professional linebacker. You need to fill that gap with a linebacker. And you need to get a big fucking gorilla, like a gorilla built type of dude, all right, to fill that gap and just fuck shit up. Honestly, they just need to get that guy that just wants to go kill you. We don't have that. We don't have linebackers that can cover for anything. We can't. Like, do you remember when Casey Matthews, not a gorilla, remember when Casey Matthews was plugged in as middle linebacker in 2011? They're expecting a 4th-round pick to be our guy, and then Brandon Jacobs just runs right past him. Yeah, we have worse linebackers now than we did then.
Then we signed DeMeco Ryans after that.
Yeah, exactly. DeMeco Ryans was a fucking stud.
Yeah,
that dude was great. And I love Stuart Bradley as well. He was always injured.
True. But here's the schedule you got. You asked about the Eagles and stuff. They're at the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Currently a dog right now. I saw the line. Seattle, loss. Green Bay is a loss as well. Mm-hmm. New Orleans, I don't know what – are we getting Drew Brees or Jameis Winston personally?
Winston.
So it's going to be Winston. We know Jameis Winston, It's going to be like a shit show.
Do we?
No, that's the thing. Do we? But I always say it's Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. Like Arizona, they're the best team in the NFC West, in my opinion. I think they're the most fun team to watch. Cowboys, I don't know who they're starting personally. I'm going to say probably Dalton.
It could be Dalton by then.
Yeah, it's Dalton or Garrett Gilbert or whatever. And we start Endo for Washington. Mm-hmm. I could probably see 1 or 2 wins.
It's funny. I can see actually Green Bay. I can see us beating Green Bay just because it makes no fucking sense.
That'll piss everybody off, Because here's the thing. Like, I've looked at the stats stuff. Like, Doug Peters is horrible off the bye. And usually, like, except for 2017, mm-hmm. they've either lost the next 2 or 3 games. Mm-hmm. So, like, 18, they lost. They lost the Cowboys and lost the Saints. And they had the Giants. They won. And they beat the Skins on Monday night. Then 19, they lost to the Patriots. They lost to the Seahawks at home. Then lost to a dreadful Miami team, which was probably the worst loss I've ever seen. Yeah. They are up so big, and they just blew it because the defense just said, like, fuck you and stuff. And then they end up with the Giants, and they got back on a winning streak for 4 games. Mm-hmm. So I really don't trust to see. I think I could see Green Bay. I don't see Seattle. New Orleans, we're probably get our shit kicked in. Mm-hmm. Arizona, we have not won in Arizona in forever, or at that new stadium too.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I have to see. We're going to Cleveland. And I didn't mean to click on that one comment, Arena Football, where it said "fuck you." I didn't mean to click on that. It was by mistake.
It's all good.
But we're going to Cleveland this week, and I'm actually flying out there because the drive to me just gives me a headache. I wish I was driving with you, but I just get that fucking craziness in my head, like that air in my head, so I had to fly. But knowing me, I'm going to be flying all the way out to Cleveland just to get drunk, And I've been cutting out on my alcohol, but I'm going there just to get drunk for my vacation because I don't see how we're going to beat Cleveland. The line is 3.5 for Cleveland. I just don't see it. I mean, if the Giants can run up and down the field with against us, what do you think Baker Mayfield's going to do to us?
Well, they only scored 10 points last week.
Yeah, against the Texans.
Against the Texans. Everyone thought that would have been a shootout. If you had the under in that game, good for you.
The under.
Yeah.
I love when Chubb was running down the field and he just runs out the 1 yard line.
I hate him for that because I had the Cleveland Browns spread, and I hate Nick Chubb right now. He's on that Brian Westbrook shit right now with me. So I really haven't really looked at the thing really because they don't have OBJ, so we don't have to deal with him. We have Jarvis Landry running up against. They got some pieces. I like their run game a lot. They got a great 1-2 of a Thunder and a Lightning of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb between tackles.
Yep.
Offensive line, their secondaries I don't trust because they drafted Denzel Ward in the 18 draft. He really hasn't been anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 20, I think it was 18 or I think it was one of those drafts. It was either 18 or 19.
Right.
He really hasn't been anything personally.
No.
So
personally, all right. So obviously we're going out to Cleveland. We're going to get probably hammered before because we're in Cleveland. We're not driving. So that's what you do in places like Cleveland because it's a dump. How do you see the game going? In your opinion, do you think it's going to be high scoring? And who do you think wins that game?
I was there for the dreadful 17-16 win back in 2012.
Yeah.
Let's say that. Last time it was high scoring was 2004 with Jeff Garcia versus Donovan McNabb. Mm-hmm. Most electric game of all time, I like to say. Absolutely. And T.O. just losing his mind towards the Cleveland fans. I see this being a really ugly game. Yeah. I think this may be 20 – like Trevor is going to go in a time warp, and it's going to be 2012. And God Lord, the Eagles are going to probably – it's going to be an ugly game. I don't know if it's just going to be a win or a loss, but I feel this is going to be an ugly game.
And I've seen pissed off Trevor before at the Barclays Center. I don't know if I want to see that in Cleveland because that would be pretty brutal, especially when we're sitting in the dog pound because you're asking me where I'd rather sit. And me being the tough ass that I am, I'm like, yeah, dog pound, let's go.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bunch of drunk asshole Cleveland Browns fans just breathing down our throats saying, Eagles suck, and then probably throwing beer at us, even though it's COVID season.
I've been told they've been kind of keeping it down, but this is me. I know Cleveland fans. Like I was there in 2012. I got a lot of fuck yous for wearing a Deshaun jersey, and yeah, it was a lot of fuck you. That I looked at them. I was like, "Have you ever sniffed a playoff win before, or seen a playoff game?" And I got really pissed after that. Exactly. And I told him, "How are you enjoying Pat Shurmur? We all know he's a bum, anyways."
Dude, that's literally the best thing you could do to an opposing fan. Now, it happened to me. I fell into that trap in 2015, actually 2014, when we were playing the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panther fans said after Mark Sanchez beat them that, yeah, find a Super Bowl ring. And I got pissed off. I got so mad. I wanted to kick his ass. So I could see where the Cleveland Browns fans are coming from. So I'm probably not going to say something like that.
Yeah. This is a young Trevor, like sophomore year in college, go to his first Eagle game. So,
yeah. I mean, I fell into that trap before, so I know what not to say to someone when I'm 6 hours away from home. But I will. If someone gets in my face, I mean, I will get back in their face. I'm not afraid. Just make sure they throw the first punch. It's not going to be me.
No, for sure. It's Cleveland fans. Dog pound is dog pound. This ain't like back in the day when you're like you would get shit thrown at you for shit. Like so, it could be interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't they ask what's the chant? Here we go, Brownies. Here we go, Wolf, Wolf.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's garbage.
So I know a lot of Eagles fans. I'm going to give them a shout out right now. There's an Eagles bar in Columbus. I heard most of them are making the drive up to Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
So Eagles fans, Columbus. Bring the noise because you got two East Coasters coming.
What is that bar called? So we could send out the give a shout out to it right now.
I don't have the bar name, but I have the Facebook group. It's Eagles Fans Columbus. So they are the bar I went to a little bit in 2017. So fun group.
So for anyone in this chat right now that wants to go to a Cleveland game and get tickets on StubHub, they just went down in price. Just know that there is a curfew sent out. We just learned about this. It's from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every single day. And if you're caught on the street, you'll get arrested. So be careful. But if you are going to go to this game, book a hotel room. And just, I don't know, DM me. Just DM me. I don't know if Trevor wants people DMing him, but DM me on my Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Instagram is NatureFreak2. Twitter is FLEPODCAST. podcast1. All right, that's my at name. So go follow me on Twitter. I'll actually put it down in the comment section. If you guys want to meet up with us and just have a drink with us, then yeah, that's where we're gonna be. I'll tell you exactly where I'm at. I'll put that in my thing right now. Podcast do this one. That is my at handle on Twitter. So go follow me there if you're in Cleveland for the game. We'll tell you where we're at, and then you guys can have a drink with us. I'm gonna try not to get too hammered because I don't want to get into a fight. Because when I drink too much, obviously, when someone says something bad to me, I don't know. I don't turn the other cheek. I usually just get right up in it. So that's just one thing I'm not looking forward to doing. But just hopefully we turn up this game and get out of there with a W. I don't care what the score is. I just want us to win.
It's going to be an ugly win. It's going to be an ugly game anyways. It's going to be weather's already wacky out there. The last two Browns games, it's been windy as fuck, and like the under is hit for them. So
yeah,
it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen in Cleveland because it's called the mistake by the lake for a reason.
Yeah,
anything could happen there. So.
Yeah, literally anything could happen. Moneyman420 asks, who's the best QB in the NFC East at the moment? Alex Smith. Easy answer for me. I actually think it's Daniel Jones. From what I saw, and Trevor's probably going to disagree with me on this one.
I don't trust Daniel Jones still, by the way. I need another year out of him. I need a full season out of him.
From what I saw in Daniel Jones yesterday, I know, Sunday, people may disagree with this, but he was putting the ball in the spot where only the wide receiver can get it, and that's what quarterbacks in this league, some of them fail to do, like Baker Mayfield and like players like, I don't know, who's not living up to potential right now that we thought would live up to potential.
Sam Darnold, but that's a shit show in New York. We all know that. Dwayne Haskins, I think he's just a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Because he ain't getting a start back in fucking Washington.
Yeah.
Trying to go through the quarterbacks the past couple of years draft, like 16 draft.
Lamar Jackson.
I will say this about Lamar Jackson.
Garbage. Oh my God.
Can I say this about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
I may have someone trying to murder me I think he's a 1-year wonder.
I don't even think that.
Listen. Yeah. Like 2019 is going to be the height. After that, you know how like Colin Kaepernick was hot when he got under center for the Niners in 2012 and took them to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't the greatest in 2013. And 14, he was god-awful. 15, very bad.
Right.
16, he only could squeak out a one win at the starting position.
Right.
I'm not going to say he's going to end up like Colin Kaepernick, but I think I'll say this. I think if the opposing defense already calling out the offensive plays, you're fucked, bud. Like, for real. Like, you got to develop something better more. Yeah, develop a passing game.
He can't throw the ball at all.
That was the one thing I did not like about him out of college. Like coming out of college, like I don't trust this guy throwing the ball.
Yeah, absolute trash. But I mean, the reason why, and I do have to give it a reason why I think Daniel Jones is the best QB in the East, and it's because it's fundamentals. Like if he doesn't turn over the ball, which has been a lot this year, but he's only a sophomore in the NFL. If he doesn't turn over the ball, he's actually a pretty smart guy. He came from Duke. He has wheels. He has wheels. He could run a 4.7 40. We all saw that one trip where if he didn't trip, he would have went to the end zone. And he like 85 yards. He's very quick. And he has accuracy. Believe it or not, he does have accuracy. And he puts the ball in the hands of the wide receiver. So if he doesn't turn the ball over going down the road, I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league, believe it or not. I know that's a hot take, but from what I saw the other day, I was like, wow, this guy's actually playing pretty well. I know it was against us, but I don't know. Whenever I watch a QB play, I've been watching the NFL for at least 18 years now. Whenever I see a quarterback play, I could tell right off the bat that guy has it. I know that Giants fans have been down on the guy because he does fumble the ball a lot and turn the ball over a lot, but I was watching him play Sunday. I was like, this guy looks pretty damn fucking good against us. And I don't know. I hope it's a fluke. I really do. But from what I saw on Sunday, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. I truly do. And I hope I'm wrong. But from what I saw, I think if he's consistent, he'll be a very good quarterback.
I think you're thinking of that because I don't know if you follow Duke football. You know David Cutcliffe, who was he was the offensive coordinator and QB coach for Peyton Manning while he was at Tennessee.
The Mannings love him.
The Mannings love him.
Yeah.
That's why Gettleman loves him. I don't like him personally. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I go by a few rules for this.
Mm-hmm.
If you think a QB out of Duke, you're reaching. Like Doug Brown was the last time that someone ever took a QB, and that was from the Giants as well. Right. I just don't think he's the right build type for New York because he's got wheels and stuff. I just don't think he's I think the fumbles are going to kill him. That's my thing. Plus Jason Garrett, he's a hell of a coordinator. I'll say that.
Yeah, he really is.
Not a great head coach, but hell of a coordinator. He can coach up a game plan. Like we all saw what he could do in 2007 with Romo, and 8 as with Romo as well, and everything. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Jason Garrett knows how to call designs against us. I understand that. Like the same exact play. It's actually they Jim Schwartz said in the press conference that it was the same exact play as the one where he tripped on his own feet and he still ran in untouched into the end zone. And that kind of made me kind of furious because if you saw that in the last game, what makes you think you can't defend that this game? And that's what bothered me. But I have a comment here. Denny, Luke, and I'm tired of Eagles fans making excuses as well. When a quarterback is being played like he is, they're expected to perform and be the best player on the team, and he's not. And here's the issue, Danny Lukenheimer. You have to understand something. The Super Bowl year, Carson Wentz was fantastic. He was absolutely great. Elite. I'll even call him elite. Problem is, when he lost the ability to run, and it's obvious as hell right now, he lost his ability to play the quarterback position because he doesn't know how to adjust. When he had the wheels, I'm confidently saying that he is a top 3 quarterback in this league. But when you take his wheels away from him, because we all know he looks slow as fuck now, when you take those wheels away from him, he's just not ever going to be the same guy. He can't throw from the pocket. When he rolls out, he slows molasses, so he can't throw on the run like he used to. It's just that X factor Carson Wentz that we had in 2017 just isn't there anymore. He hasn't been there, and I've been saying it since 2018. After that Colts game, where it looked like he was himself when he spun around and ran for the first down. After that, he never did it again. Ever since 2018, I've been saying this guy is never going to be the same again because of that factor. He needs his wheels. He needs his elite speed, and he doesn't have it. Like, he's not a pocket passer. He never was.
No.
When you go through Pee Wee football, when you go through high school football, when you go through college football, and you're not a pure pocket passer, you're not going to be a pure pocket passer in the NFL, the hardest level. Like, it's just not going to happen, and people expect him to just turn into that overnight. It's never going to happen. You're seeing this every single game. You're expecting him to be a better Carson. Everyone's coming back. Carson's going to be better. It's not going to happen because he needs his legs to make a play, and he doesn't have his legs anymore. That's why I'm saying in the offseason, Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson, they're both going to be looking at Carson and saying, hey, listen, we might have to take the penalty and eat some of his contract and get rid of him. Because if Doug can't mesh with Carson Wentz and figure out how to run his offense, him being a pocket passer, you're never going to have anything there, especially when Carson Wentz, I'm hearing, is a stubborn guy and he doesn't like to listen to coaches. So
that's the other thing I hate about Carson was he's very stubborn.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked when we had John DeFilippo and Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Because he had a good cop and bad cop, which I feel the Eagles need right now. How they passed on John DeFilippo not once but twice in back-to-back offseason, it shows that the Eagles don't want to have success again, and they don't want to develop Carson even more. Plus, you remember when Donnie broke his – did he break his ankle or in 02?
He turned into a pocket passer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I feel they're trying – they're pulling they're pulling an old file out from 2002.
You can't do it.
And they're doing it to fucking Carson.
You can't do it because the way that Carson Wentz throws the ball, he doesn't get it out as quick as Donnie did, and that's a big problem. You know, his mechanics are so flawed. I thought he fixed his mechanics. Apparently he didn't, because he looks like the same guy since 2016.
I think he's just 2016, but worse. I think he's like. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to right now. This may have the chat want to kill me.
Yeah.
I think he's slowly Remember when RG3 was shit in 2014?
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling right now with Carson right now.
Yeah, and RG3 looked like Carson Wentz back in 2012. He looked phenomenal. And then all of a sudden went to shit.
Like 13, it was starting to Tito got hurt again.
Yeah.
That's how I see it right now. That's how I'm looking at it as, because that's what I could relate it to. Mm-hmm. I know people are going to kill me right now in the chat. I don't know who's trying to kill me, but that's how I see it right now. Plus, I hate when your star quarterback has a buddy-buddy relationship with your owner. Mm-hmm. That usually ends very sour, and I feel it's going to end sour here. And people are going to be pissed about it. And it's going to be like me and you are like, well, they finally fucking did it, you know?
I'll be like, whatever. You know, we're moving on, because we're Eagles fans. We don't hold on to players if they're not getting the job done.
No.
So, I mean, if you're not getting the job done and you're costing team victories, which he clearly is because he leads the league in turnovers, you got to assess that in the offseason and then just cut the cord if it's not working, which it clearly isn't. I got a comment here. Nitro Freak, do you think, the super chat, I'm going to bring it up. Do you think Joe Judge is a good coach? I don't, and I'm not going to elaborate on that.
All right, I will actually. I don't think he's a good coach. I hate how Giant fans are blowing him as the next Bill Belichick or Nick Saban. And I literally say this to a few Giant fans. So they're like, do you remember what Josh McDaniels did his first year, then his second year?
Yep.
I see that with Joe Judge. I think he's going to be that type of coach and get fired, or after 2 or 3 years, personally. I personally think Dave Gettleman's on the hot seat. I think he's drafted well, but he's not racking up the wins. I feel like they should. Me personally, John Dorsey should have been the GM for the Giants instead of Gettleman, because I think Dorsey is a more progressive guy, which the Giants need to have.
Yep.
Because he knows how to win and build talent around a roster.
Absolutely.
Around a quarterback, which Dave Gettleman did not. You should have either drafted a tackle or figure out the quarterback position, but you didn't. You take a running back, which is super 1997 on you.
Absolutely. I mean, they saw something out of Daniel Jones, obviously. I'm seeing it now personally, but taking him at number 6 when you had Josh Allen, the linebacker, sitting right there out of Kentucky, it was kind of a head scratcher, because Josh Allen was like one of these kind of specimens. But I don't know. I guess looking back at it, I guess they made it a right decision. $2 super chat from Jacob Blackowski. Thank you for the $2. Really appreciate it. Eli, Hall of Famer. Love your channel, even though I'm in New York.
All of good, as what people would say.
Hall of Famer. Well, personally, Jacob, I don't want to really I don't want to bend your hopes a little bit. But do I think he's a Hall of Famer? No. But do I think that his rings will get him in the Hall of Fame and his last name will get him in the Hall of Fame? Yes. But if he didn't have that last name, no, I don't think he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
He'd be like Phil Simms almost. He's in the Giants Hall of Fame and Ring of Honor. No one's allowed to wear number 10 ever again. So that's the only thing. Plus, I hate the Manning family mafia personally. Yeah. I personally think they're the biggest scumbag group next to. There's a few groups. They're one of them too.
The Joe Biden mafia?
No, not that. Not political. I go by sports group. The Manning family mafia is number 1. The LeBron James posse. I will say that word. That one is another one. I hope. Try to cancel me, chat. I dare you. Yeah. That's another one, and I think that's really it. Those are the 2 big ones for me. So,
Wentz's instincts are bad.
Correct.
Every time he needs to make a big play, he checks the ball down. Every time he needs to check the ball down, he makes a hero ball. Yep, you're correct. There was this play about 3 weeks ago against the Giants at Lincoln Financial Field where he's running to the right side. All of a sudden, he throws across his body off his back foot to Travis Fulgham into triple coverage. And you're seeing a lot of that happen. You know, he always wants to play the hero. That's because, the Super Bowl that we won in 2018, well, technically 2018, well, another guy finished his job for him, and he's been salty ever since. That's why he's trying to press on everything. And he just being a little bitch. Carson Wentz needs to toughen up. He needs to stop, I don't know what it is. It's just, to me, it's just like he's trying too much for no reason. I don't understand it. It's weird.
I wish days like today. I really miss the days of when we criticize a quarterback like McNabb, Vic. Did we? I feel like Foles, we kind of did a little bit of both, but we kind of loved them more, you know. At times, I like those times. Like Wentz, whenever we try to criticize him, the Wentz mafia just comes in and tells like, "No, you're wrong." I personally hate that group the most because I feel like we need to give a quarterback tough love, like show him that he needs to do. Like I personally hate his press conferences because it's like he plays a recorder down, he's on mute, and he plays the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. I haven't been on YouTube that long. And he asked another question. He asked a question before this. He asks, who do you think will go first, Howie, Doug, or Carson?
I like this question.
I'm going to go bold. I'm going to say Carson. I think Howie and Doug are in bed with Lurie. So I think they'll end up getting Carson Wentz, getting rid of him first. But with that said, I mean, I really couldn't call it other than that. I'm just going to say Wentz because that would be my first guess. And he also says, I haven't been on YouTube that long, but why do so many of the big-name Eagles YouTubers love to baby Wentz? I don't understand. For everything I just said, because in 2017 he looked elite. And they're trying to go back 3 years into their safe, their vault, and see that again.
Play the greatest hits, you know?
Yeah, and they're putting on their blinders, and they're not realizing that the guy isn't what he used to be and not even close to what he used to be. And that's what pisses me off about the other content creators on YouTube, because I know they're smart. They know how to talk. They're smart about the games. They're smart about their score predictions, but the only thing they're not smart about is Carson Wentz because they don't want to say he sucks because they're afraid that people will say something bad about them. That's or they feel like he's going to go back to what he was when he's never going to go back to what he was.
Back to the question. I want to answer this.
Which one?
Who will go first?
Okay.
All right. I see this. This is crazy. I have this. All right. The Christmas party you should know is when Chip Kelly got fired because he ruined it for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Hear me out. If they go on a losing streak, which I'm not hoping they do, but for content for all of us, Eagles creator, like podcasters, radio guys, you as well for YouTube. Howie Roseman going first. Big parade.
Yep.
Doug Peterson staying could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which will have everyone lose their shit. Carson leaving. And I see this. I want a new GM. I personally want Dimitroff because I think he's a great talent evaluator, or John Dorsey.
Yep.
I think those two are great talent evaluators. And we all know Dorsey's not going to fuck up a coaching search anyways.
Nope.
He's probably I'll tell Doug, fire your whole fucking staff.
Mm-hmm.
Bring people in. You're picking an offensive coordinator that's not you.
Absolutely.
So, because this is the year I think Doug Peterson, the OC, is going to get fired because of Doug Peterson, the head coach.
Right.
So that's how I see it. I look at it as a content play for us because I think if we have Howie gone, that's a Pandora's box that me and you would like a lot.
Yeah, but you know what? There's only so many times where I could get on camera and just scream and like get mad because I don't want to get mad all the time. You know, it's COVID, it's depressing. I don't want to get mad all the time. I want to be happy about something. Now, if Carson Wentz were to be kicked off this team, I'd be happy. I'd have the biggest fucking smile on my face, ear to ear, and that would be great for me. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't think the Eagles organization has the balls, but we all know Jeffrey Lurie could come down anytime.
Yeah,
and swoop down. Like Chip Kelly's last year, I was very salty. Yeah. It made Eagles football unwatchable. Doug Peterson's this year has made me not want to watch the Eagles games in full.
Right.
That's how I've been feeling this whole year towards Eagles games. It's like for me, I look at like who's not gonna waste my time. It's like also like I gamble, so it's like I had fun time. Like I put money on the Bears, and they they win and they cover. So,
well, that's another thing I want to bring up. When I had that big bet against San Fran when we played them, Carson Wentz actually looked pretty damn good that game. You know, he got the ball into Fulgham's hands where a quarterback places the ball where only the wide receiver can get it, and then after that, you don't see it. You know, it's like the consistency is just not there with this guy. You need consistency to win a Super Bowl. I know the team is complete dog shit. I know the defense kind of stinks, and everyone's blaming Jim Schwartz like he's the scapegoat. Let me give you a little bit of a news flash, guys. When you don't have the talent to run a defense, it's usually not going to work out, especially the way that Jim Schwartz's system works. So you guys have to understand that we don't have any linebackers whatsoever. I'm pretty sure people in this chat would do better at linebacking than some of the guys that we have. Alex Singletary sucks.
Isn't one of them is from the CFL?
Yeah. Oh, I think it was Singletary.
Yeah.
Singletary sucks. Nate Gary, when he was in there, sucks. Who else?
Fuck Nathan Gary as our little tribute to my podcast. We're the true fuck Nathan Gary podcast.
I don't even know the other guys' names. That's how much I don't care about them. All right? The other guys suck. They all suck. The linebackers are terrible. Jalen Mills needs to go back to cornerback. Can't play safety. Fletcher Cox gets injured. Hasn't done much anyway. Malik Jackson, stiff. Fuck
that signing, I thought it was be good, but it's backfired the whole time.
Yeah, stiff. The only player that has been consistent on this team the entire season is getting older, and that is Brandon Graham. That is the only player that has been consistent on this team. And I have to apologize to Brandon Graham because a couple of years ago before he won the Super Bowl, I was a little mean to him. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the fan base was a little mean to him because he blocked half the fan base on Twitter. All right? And I have to apologize because without him, we don't win that Super Bowl. I'm guilty. I'm saying it because that strip sack was everything. And he's just a dynamic player. I love you, Brandon Graham.
Michigan man too. The only good thing that's came out of Michigan.
Been out of Michigan in a long time, besides Tom Brady.
And Charles Woodson.
Forget. But Darius Slay, I hate to break it to you guys, not worth the contract. Darius Slay is one of the more overrated quarterbacks I've ever seen in the league. Am I going to say he sucks? No. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. But we paid him as one of the top-tier echelon cornerbacks, and he's not that. Did you guys watch Detroit last year? Like, the guy was getting burnt toast like every other game. It's just some things you have to look at. I know Howie Roseman needed a cornerback because you had to transition Jalen Mills to safety because Malcolm Jenkins left the leader, and you had to bring in another cornerback because you didn't trust Avonte Maddox or Sidney Jones, who you just got rid of. So you had to pay a cornerback. I get it, but I would have rather paid Byron Jones than Darius Slay. That was just my opinion, all right? Because I thought Byron Jones was just a better, more natural cornerback than Darius Slay. But I don't know.
I made the mistake again. I always buy the new corner that we always buy. I always get his jersey. I like to hand up. I apologize for putting that curse on because I was the one who got a Nambi jersey as well. So yeah. I'll put my hand up for that. I will say this. Trades with Detroit have never worked out with the Eagles' favor at all. It doesn't matter if it's a head coach who became an offensive coordinator, Marty Morningway. Plus, if you're a Detroit head coach, you never get another head coaching job ever again. Mm-hmm. True fact. Marty Morningway, numero uno. I don't know if you remember Ernie Sims.
Yeah.
He was from Detroit that we traded for in a 3-team trade that sent Tony Schefter to the Broncos and sent an Eagles 5th-round pick it sent a 5th-round pick as well. So when you look at it, the Eagles make a trade with Detroit Lions. It always backfires so far so well. Like Ernie Sims was an okay player, and he was a top 10 pick out of it too.
Yeah.
In the 06 draft.
And yeah, Bradbury is a beast on the Giants. He's a monster. Actually, I think he's a really good cornerback.
I rather pick Bradbury personally, but Howie Roseman doesn't like to pick good talent. So
no, he doesn't. He's not a good GM. I keep saying this over
and over. He's a savant. He tries to be the smartest man in the room, but he's really been the dumbass in the room.
He's the biggest dumbass in the room by far.
So back to your Byron Jones comment.
Yep.
I was not for it, and I always feel like most corners, if you side with Miami, the history. Like when you look at Joey Porter, for example, and Ndamukong Suh, they always last 2 or 3 years, and they surface away, they retire, or they go back to the original team they came from. Mm-hmm. We did not expect the Miami Dolphins to be this good at all.
Yeah.
And seeing them being this good, I will say this: Brian Flores, Coach of the Year. I would take a guy, him and a GM down in Miami, any day of the week right now, than have the shit show that's going on in Philadelphia right now.
Right.
They bring players that want to play for their team, and Brian Flores has brought a kind of Bill Belichick vibe, but he's not Bill Belichick. But he puts his spin on it. He's brought like a few good players, like Kyle Van Noy on the defense, bringing in Byron Jones. He brought in like people that want to play football to create a culture. I feel that's the problem with the Philadelphia. After the 17th season, they made that shrine, which they got taken down. They've kind of lost the culture, I feel, of like how to win. Honestly, like, yeah, 9-7 is cool. It gets you a playoff appearance. You get a wild card. 9-7, yeah, you win the division. It was a shitty year. There's no true culture right now. Yeah, Doug says like, oh, the winning. This is the new norm. It's not really the new norm. We're still shit though.
Yeah, Arena Football Zone says, John Dorsey screwed up the Browns.
Not really, actually. He chose the wrong head coach, but they fixed. Like, when you look at the Browns, like the first year, you weren't going to expect the Browns to be like world beaters. Like, you were looking at the Browns of 2020, 2021, 2022. Not the first year, not 2019 or the 100th anniversary of the NFL football season.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree. Like I don't ever bet on the Miami Dolphins, especially at a -1.5 point spread. I bet on them last Sunday with confidence because they're a pretty fucking good football team. Yeah. And you know what they did? They spent money. You know, they got Byron Jones. I mean, people are saying he's not playing that great. All right, whatever. At least they went out there and spent for a cornerback. All right, I feel like Byron Jones would fit our system more than Slay does. That's just my opinion. I think Byron Jones is still the better cornerback personally.
Yeah. Out of UConn, like people, I never thought we have a UConn corner.
Yeah,
but yeah. I'll like you said it best. Miami, they spend the money in the correct positions, unlike before.
Right.
Yeah. Like we could go through the Miami Dolphins for age. Like they picked up Mike Wallace. He was a bum after 2 years.
Like you could spend money like the Philadelphia Phillies, spend it on Bryce Harper, who's hit or miss for half the season, and just call it a day and not make the playoffs in his first 2 years. Or you could spend money throughout your whole lineup and pick the pieces that work and pick the pieces that fit to make a team mesh together. I mean, you can do that. I mean, that's
or you could be like the Chicago Cubs, don't give a fuck about the baseball side of the management, and you were forced to give this amount of money, then figure it out with Theo. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you can tell, I'm a Cubs fan. I love Theo. I hated Theo at the end. I hate the Ricketts family right now because they're a bunch of idiots.
Well, I mean, the thing with Theo is Theo Epstein. He like ran his course. You know, he was the perfect GM to get you over the hump. I understand that, but he has a window. You know, he doesn't stick at one team forever. You saw that with the Red Sox and you saw that with the Cubs. Now he's probably going to go to the Mets, win them a title.
I definitely see him go to the Mets 100%.
Yeah, I think he's going to go there too because it makes the most sense.
They're saying he's taking a sabbatical, so I personally doubt it.
But when people say you buy a championship, what does that even mean? I mean, if you win a championship and you buy the players, you're buying the right pieces. Like you could buy any player. It doesn't matter how many players you buy. If they don't fit, you're not going to win anything. You know, and the Phillies, I hate to say it because I know there's a lot of Phillies fans in here, but the Phillies spent stupid money that 1 year with Bryce Harper. And what did they win? They won nothing. You want to know why? Because they spent it on Bryce Harper and completely neglected their bullpen, you know? So
I got another analogy for you.
Yeah.
The Phillies fans, they're like a pinata right now. Like you see the guts on the floor right now. We've done enough of them. Remember when the Flyers, they got like Ilya Brizgalov? Brizgalov. And we thought that was going to put us over the hump.
Yeah.
That only lasted 2.5 years.
I thought it was going to last less than that.
Yeah. Like, there's some sparks it works. You got to look at your team as well. Mm-hmm. Like, how could this work? You got to look at the culture. You got to look at the intangibles as well. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of that dude who used to run the Patriots. Like, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's got a good podcast, so. Yeah. He is gambling as well. He's on VSiN right now. So
Jacob brought up a good comment. He said Tampa is trying to buy one by taking Brady, Gronk, and Antonio. The only problem is with that is I do think it'll mesh eventually. They did have like 49 points on Sunday. So, I mean, it meshed pretty quickly. The only problem is Tom Brady is ancient. All right. And you don't know how long he's going to be able to last this season. So that's a little different. But they were trying to – I agree with that. That they're trying to get star players around him, and they put up a lot of points last week. So
my also thing, I don't think anyone's talked about this. Like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have been down there forever, and they've been down there when they were just god-awful and stuff. And now – if you're like one of those two wideouts been there forever and they're like bringing in like AB, Rom Gronkowski, wouldn't you feel like kind of slighted? Like they're bringing in people who know how to win and like you're taking away my catches and shit. And so it's like that's how I see it personally. So I could be wrong, but it's like that's how I view it. So
no, I agree. I mean, it's crazy because right now, if things stayed they stayed the way they are, we'd be facing Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. So that would be interesting, playing Tom Brady at Lincoln Financial Field. Never thought I'd see the day on that one.
That would be lack of fans. Well, no fans. So
I think fans would be there by then.
We all know the Philly mayor. As go look at Barstool Jordy and a few other people's Twitter accounts.
And this is another one that we need to shy away from. If you're an Eagles fan, you just need to grow up. Wentz is still elite. Is he? I don't think he is.
Tyson?
He has nobody to help him. And the play calling has been horrible. By the way, your boy Foles, just stop it after that first period. We're not talking about Nick Foles. We're talking about Carson Wentz. Whenever Carson Wentz does bad, people like to add Nick Foles into there. You want to know why? Because people are salty that Nick Foles got the job done and Carson Wentz was crippled. That's why. All right? And people over that. Comments like this just go and show me that maybe you're just not an Eagles fan. All right?
Hey,
maybe
Tyson,
you're a guy that just supports the player.
Hey, Tyson, I will tell you this. Delete your account because that's the asinine take I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For real. So, hey, Tyson, I know you're probably in there or you just probably left the chat. You have another tab open. You're probably listening to me right now. Please delete your account. That's the worst take I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. You're comparing a guy that hasn't been here for 2 years. A guy that, we had no business being in that Saints playoff game at all. A guy that beat the Chicago Bears on the road, one of the better defenses we've seen in the last 20 years. A guy that got shit done. A guy that threw for a record of yards, I think it was, against the Texans in franchise history to get us into the playoffs when Carson Wentz looked like he wasn't going to win 5 fucking games that year. So I don't want to hear it. It's clear to me. It's clear to me, at least, because I consider myself very, very open and very smart-minded when it comes to the sport of football. It's clear to me that Carson Wentz is not the fucking guy to run this team. It's clear to me. Because if you put a healthy Nick Foles back there, with even the offensive line that we have right now and the weapons that we have around him, I guarantee you we'd win 10 games. Guarantee you. And Trevor might disagree with me on that one. But it's the way that Nick Foles plays in the city of Philadelphia that this guy would get shit done when Carson Wentz is trying too hard and he turns the ball over like Jamarcus Russell. So you have to understand something. Carson Wentz does not deserve any credit. He does not deserve even to be mentioned right now. He is fucking horrible.
He's RG3 regressed so bad, Tyson. So I'll say it like that. Speaking of Nick Foles, the only problem with our offensive line, I don't want to see him get killed. That's our problem right now. That's the same thing he's dealing with Chicago. I think he's a better leader because he, I don't know. Did you see the Chicago press conference he had? He lit a fire under everyone's ass.
Yeah,
and it's kind of backfired on anyone. That's like the type of leader he's a Super Bowl MVP. That's great to see. I'd rather have that than I see the same shit every day, and you have half a team fucking hate you.
Trevor, let me ask you a question. The Bears lost what, 4 straight last night?
They've lost 4 straight. Yeah,
4 straight. Right. We have about a minute and a half left in this, but I'm gonna leave you guys with this. The Bears lost 4 straight last night. Did Nick Foles look like a guy on that gurney that was hated?
No. The only team that hates him right now is the Chicago fans and David Kaplan. Yeah.
Chicago fans are stupid. They'd rather blame a guy that is the best leader probably in the NFL other than Drew Brees and Tom Brady. They'd rather blame a guy that has a Super Bowl championship than seeing that their coach is a complete stooge, can't call plays, had to hand over the play call on the laser, and one of the worst offensive lines I've seen in NFL history.
I
They
think
want to blame a guy because he looks goofy.
It's also sad that Chicago hasn't found a quarterback since Jim McMahon.
And your boy, Big Cat, is one of the biggest losers I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how he's in the position at Barstool that he is right now. I have no idea. I did like the guy. The guy last night just proved that he's a fucking retard. He has no idea what he's talking about. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you like the guy, but he's stupid. No wonder why he always fucking loses his gambling bets. He had a fucking plaque that said Gamble of the Year with a losing record! With that said,
don't get me started on Big Cat's bets. We can always agree on one thing: Marty Mush sucks at gambling.
I don't know why half the people in there have jobs. I have no idea, but whatever. With that said, that's Trevor Harris. I'm Kyle. We will be in Cleveland for the Browns game this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this therapy hour. I hope you guys love the content. If so, smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like the page on Facebook, like the Twitter, and yeah.
Go subscribe to the Upper Bowl podcast. We had Dan Cilio on for Tuesday's podcast. We're talking a little bit about Week 10. Kyler Murray to Tagovailoa, especially the Cardinals, Bills, and Dolphins, Chargers, and some other cool stuff. So go check out episode 99.
Yep.
Jerome Brown, baby.
Yep. With that said, it's right there, Trevor from the Upper Bowl podcast. His podcast kicks ass. I will be on his podcast after the game on Sunday. I'll be making my debut on that podcast.
Yeah, but that was a secret. That was a surprise for the listeners, but we'll see.
They're probably not listening to me on this one right now, so whatever.
Take care, guys.
But with that said, yeah, definitely. He's going to be on my channel a lot more now because I do streams a lot more because I have more time.